Hey anyone, I'm Hawk, and I like horror games, but I find myself unable to play through most of them a lot of the time, especially if it's night and dark and I'm wearing headphones. I really try, but they're just really scary. But here I want to talk about a short list of 3 indie horror games that I really love, and I think deserve more attention, so stick around and let us know what you think at the end of the video. Starting off at number 1, we have Iron Lung. Iron Lung is pretty unique in terms of horror games, in my opinion. I really haven't personally seen anything else like it. And I'm someone who has pretty bad thalassophobia. I'm very afraid of big bodies of water and stuff that's in them. Just the idea of being in water or a submarine or anything like that big is absolutely terrifying to me. So when I saw Iron Lung, I thought this game would be pretty cool and it'd probably really scare me, and it delivers on both of those fronts. Iron Lung takes place in the future. We're spacefaring, and at some point there's this great catastrophe that basically causes all life on all planets to just vanish instantaneously. And all that's left is barren worlds, and the people who are trying to survive eventually come across this moon somewhere out in space that has giant oceans of blood on it. So they take convicts and really don't train them at all. There's no time to train them. They put them in these rickety old submarines and throw them into the bottom of the ocean of blood to see if they could find any resources or anything viable, or maybe even just find more information on whatever the hell happened to the universe. So these people are dying and they're desperate, but you play as one of these prisoners sent down, or convicts sent down into a submarine, and you don't have any visuals to guide you. In the gameplay here, you could see there's different devices that you use to figure out where you're at on a map that you thankfully have access to. And the goal is to check out a couple points of interest and not get eaten by anything scary or terrifying down there. You have this device that lets you take pictures in front of the submarine, and you have to hit the button and wait a second, and then a grainy black and white picture shows up, showing you whatever might be in front of the submarine. But on top of that, you could hear things outside of the submarine. So I highly recommend playing this game with headphones on, and in the dark, and as alone as possible. And it's a very awesome and unique, terrifying experience for me personally. Maybe some people might find it a little boring or a little slow, but you have to navigate this blood ocean and try to find these points of interest while avoiding whatever the hell may be outside of your submarine. So I would definitely recommend Iron Lung for anybody who wants a bit of a different horror experience. And at number 2, we have Unspoken. Unspoken is wild. It has a pretty interesting visual design that's pixely, kind of. It's pixelated, but the presentation of it also, in my opinion, makes it feel like it's through like a camcorder in this weird pixelated, distorted world. It's a kind of a lower poly graphics style, but it all of that works together to create this pretty eerie feeling, even when just looking at basic, not usually scary, everyday stuff. You're someone who wakes up after some kind of an emergency. There's an emergency broadcast playing on the TV, and you watch it, you pick up a videotape, you're trying to figure out what's going on and who you are. You don't even know who you are. But while you're navigating through this world that's pretty interactive, you have to turn on lights and hit doorknobs to open stuff up, and you have to find keys sometimes. You're moving through this interactive world. There's these monsters that kind of pop out sometimes and come at you, and they're absolutely terrifying, and the way they come after you is just I hate it. I love it, but I hate it. I have not beaten this game because I don't know if I can. I need the right conditions that aren't too scary to get through all of it, but these monsters, when they hunt you down, it feels pretty realistic. They feel like they're actually something alive coming after you. you'll turn a corner and you'll see it pop its head out and then disappear. You follow where it went and it's somewhere else. They'll be behind you. You have a gun at least, which is nice. You could shoot the things. But this game really, really got me in a way that not many other games have, at least in the last couple of years. I love it. I don't know if I'll ever beat it, but I could definitely appreciate it from afar, and I highly recommend this game. And finally, at number 3, we have Conscript. Conscript is a bit of a different experience from normal horror games, but I thoroughly believe it belongs in the horror category just because of its subject matter and presentation. But Conscript, in terms of gameplay, was inspired by Resident Evil. That's the biggest inspiration that I see. You see it in how you move, how you interact with stuff, picking stuff up, inventory management, all that stuff. Even the combat is kind of slower and clunky, which feels like Resident Evil did, old Resident Evil. But it's intentionally made that way, and I appreciated it. But you're a French soldier in World War I at Verdun, where, if you're not familiar, a massive battle happened at Verdun. It was, I think, one of the biggest battles in the war, if not the biggest. But you're there, getting orders with your brother, stuff happens with your brother, and you're trying to survive just the hell that is the trenches. It really does a good job of presenting the terror of fighting in this type of war and this type of environment. Obviously, it'll never come close to the people who actually participated in it, but I think part of what makes it even more scary for me personally is that this happened. This story didn't happen, but the stuff that you see in this game is inspired by stuff that actually happened. The Battle of Verdun happened, the way they fought, it's accurate to that. The visuals you see of, bodies left to turn into actual skeletons, left there for so long, they turn into just bones. People floating in puddles, being hit with artillery, just the absolute fear, terror, and grotesque spectacle of it all. It just really hammers home a very tiny sliver of what this war would have felt like for the people fighting in it. So if you're interested at all in World War I and a kind of horror take on World War I, then I definitely recommend Conscript. It's absolutely worth checking out. And there it is. 3 indie horror games in no particular order that I think are worth at least looking into if you're even mildly interested in them, or want an experience that's not your typical horror, tropey-filled fun time that you see in a lot of AAA games and even movies and stuff. So, let us know what you think, and thanks for watching.
Hey, thanks for watching.
Give us a like if you enjoyed it, and dislike it if you didn't.
Let us know what you think about the channel.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Tell your mom.